Good morning, everyone. I'm going to try to make this quick, but I'm never really good at doing this. This market is beyond absurd. You can see where I've drawn this upper trend line boundary and this channel that the market's been rallying in since the February lows. You can see here we've escaped the upper boundary and we continue to just fly. So I would hope that we pull back and can find support at that upper trend line, channel line, and or the recent breakout highs. We shall see. The good news is that it's been so strong for so long now that there are so many underinvested bulls and people that have completely missed out that any pullback should get support. But the problem is the next pullback could be quite vicious. And why I say that is because despite the market being up again, the volatility index was up again. So I know that that wasn't like that. Let's go look at my VIIX. So my VIIX, I went long on the 15th, on the 16th, 17th, and 21st. You can see that it's been higher each day. However, the market's been higher during that period. So it's funny that the market is going up, but at the same time, the volatility overall is rising while our market moves up. So you can see that move in the VIX right there. And now you look at the move in the NASDAQ. That's pretty odd action, and it could be indicating that, it's the fear, volatility is rising for a possible ugly sell-off. And don't forget Donald Trump's tax plans. He's been, blah, blah, pumping it up the entire time. And it's very possible that with the way that this market looks, it's going to be a sell the news event. But that's all speculation. So let's get into the new long position. I actually have a few for this evening. MBVT was initially flagged in my perfect speculator scan. It was not confirmed in any other scan, but if this thing traded more than 50,000 shares per day, it would have easily have made my price volume BOP surge scan, and then it also would have easily have made my tertiary scan. So because of that, it's definitely a new long position. But you can see a nice bounce off support here near the 50-day moving average and a clear cut loss area here. So I'm going long MBVT, 2.5% of my account portfolio, 2% for being perfect speculator, and 0.5% for being price volume BOP surge scan quality, even though it doesn't have enough shares. So I'll give it like 0.5%. So 2.5% of my account capital. 52.25 would be my limit. 49.95 is my mental hard stop. There's no mental stop. There is no hard stop on the books for regional banks. So 49.95 stop, 52.25 perfect speculator scan. Almost a CanSim quality stock. It's got a 92 composite rating. It needs to be a 95 total for me to consider it. It has a 58 EPS rating and a 92 relative strength. If it had a higher relative strength or higher EPS, I would have considered it CanSim quality, and then it would have been 4.5% instead of 2.5%. So MBVT. And then number two is the second best one is WLKP. WLKP had earnings today. Pocket pivot point signal on very strong volume after a quiet volume pullback with already some heavy volume support. Max Green BOP on the way up. Max Green BOP in the base and Max Green BOP today. So WLKP, because of its 35-cent top and 35-cent bottom, I don't want to buy it high day. So 24.85 is going to be my limit. My one and only stop loss level right here, 24.25. It breaks this base low, I am completely out. WLKP was in my 20 days green BOP scan, 5 days max green BOP scan, and my price volume BOP surge scan, and then it also made my tertiary scan, so that's 4 scans. But 1% for BOP, another 1% for BOP, and 1% for price volume BOP surge scan, so 3% total for WLKP. 72 composite, 19 EPS, 72 relative strength, clearly not a CanSim quality stock, but it's got a good, strong chemical group that it's part of. It's got a strong sales, profit margin, return on equity, and accumulation distribution, so everything's good there. So WLKP, 24.85, 24.25 stop. Then there's PPSI, the final new long position. PPSI, let's get a little bit closer because you can't see that open bar, or actually the higher open than the lower, than the lower open than the higher close. Okay, now that I got that straightened out, the lower open and higher close. So if it would have opened at 7.45 and closed at 7.40, PPSI is not new long. But since it opened at 7.40 and closed at 7.45, I'm going to take it because you can see here after this pullback, it's starting to round out. And before it started to round out, it had lower volume on the pullback. And as it starts to find support here, heavy volume comes in. And look at how much Max Green BOP is in this chart. This thing has Max Green BOP going all the way back to November when it started to move higher as it was being accumulated off the November lows, accumulated here in December, and then major accumulation in January. The pullback, some heavy volume days, but big intraday reversal on that volume surge, and then quiet volume on the rest of the pullback. Now we got that curling, that hooking action. So we're starting to round out right at the bottom. PPSI, 20-day green bop scan, clearly. 5 days max green bop scan, clearly. And it was also my price volume bop scan because it averages over 50,000 shares per day. And so it was also in the tertiary scan, overall price up, above average volume, green bop. PPSI also happens to be a quote CanSlim quality stock. 75 composite's not that good, but it's got a 78 EPS. Anything over 70 with earnings per share, I qualify it as long as it has an 80 plus relative strength, and PPI has that with a 94 relative strength rating, earnings per share rating, relative strength rating. Been using the RSI index so much, I almost got that confused. So 94 relative strength rating, 78 EPS, 75 overall composite. Beautiful chart with that curling action, all that max green bop, very thin though still, but still not as thin as MBVT, so we got that going for it. So it's going to be 1% for bop, 1% for the other bop, 1% for price volume bop, and since it's a quasi CanSlim stock, another 1%. So PPSI, you could do 4%. Now, why would you want to do 4% in such a low price stock? Because limit order 745, cut loss level, the only one here, 730. Now, you could use 735, the recent lows, but I'm going back here to this low a day on February 2nd, 730. So if it trades below 730, I'll get out at 725. I'll only lose 20 cents. Now, just by the way, this 4% in PPSI, 3% in WLKP, 2.5 in MVVT. I can only do that in the margin account with any kind of capital that I have with buying power because I'm fully maxed out everywhere. And in the cash account, if I can even get 1% in any of these, that will be a miracle. I'm shooting for a 0.5% account capital of my cash accounts in PPSI, WLKP, MVVT. We shall see. Also got a strong ad signal in CACB, CanSlim quality stock, also confirmed in the price volume bop scan. Nice volume surge today. Nice bop surge to a much higher green level. But do you notice how the pocket pivot point signal dropped off? That's because this stock is extended from the 10 and 20-day moving average. However, the 50-day moving average is right there. And if you use the recent lows, you can use this level here. I'm not quite sure what I want to do, so it'll have to close down the day before I know. But I think I'm pretty sure that for this ad signal here, I don't want to see it trade below 778. So if whatever I add, let's say it's like, I think 220 shares is what I have total. If I add 110 shares, because I wouldn't go more than half of the original amount, if it moves below 778, I'll get out. And then also XGTI doing the opposite of what ETRM is doing. Remember, I wanted to do ETRM as a possible huge, possible big winner. It's going in the wrong direction, already out of half, but XGTI is still working on that rounding out coil. Max green bop for the past 20 days, 5 days of max green bop. The volume ticking up slightly, so I'm going to add to this position. I think I have 600 shares right around there total, so I'd be adding right around 300 shares. But those are the long positions. CACB, by the way, would be about 1.5% of the account capital if you have it. XGTI is that same, a few thousand, a couple $1,000 position only on the ad signal. But MBVT, that's the best one this evening. Super, super thin though, 2.5%, only really in the Perfect Speculator scan. WLKP, earnings out of the way, probably one of the better looking charts. PPSI, the best looking chart, but still didn't close near the high day of 760, closed more near the low, so I don't love it. Like I said, CACB very nice, XGTI very nice. The bottom line, all these charts have a lot of green. That's what I'd like to see. We'll see what happens. I'm looking over at my desktop monitor and I can see the futures markets are pretty much up anywhere from 0.08% in the S&P 500 to 0.13% right now in the NASDAQ 100, and that is currently right around 9:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. All right, everybody, I'll see you in the chat room, or I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Aloha.